Hi, my name is Mayana and welcome to Maya Core. I know that this looks a lot different than my usual videos and the quality is probably super bad, but my camera died. My battery is exhausted and I don't really have the money to get another battery, so I was just going to take a break for booktube from a little bit. But I really want to talk about what I read in December just because I talked about like literally every single other month and I just wanted to like end off the rest of my year and I really just want to share what I read. So, yeah, in December I read 22 books. I had some like things I wanted to talk about before I got into the video, but I don't remember what they were. I'm filming this on my iPad. Unfortunately, I got a Kindle for Christmas, so that's what I've been reading on. I upload a lot on TikTok if you want to follow me on there, because I did my wrap up and what I my 2023, my top 2020, my top reads of 2023. I did that, and then I did do a top reads of 2023 on here, but I did a live stream, so you can go and watch that video. Again, I am so sorry the quality is shitty. We're like up close and personal. I'm probably not going to be looking at the like actual camera because it's so small I don't know where it is and my face is big. So I know booktube like has like they're very picky and particular about things like that. So I'm so sorry. But let's just get into what I read in December. So like I said, I read 22 books in December. I ended up reading a total of 311 books in all of 2023. First book I read was Sing Me to Sleep. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It is about this girl who is a mermaid and she is sent to work with the prince to be like the bodyguard for the prince. Like nobody really knows she's a mermaid. I ended up giving this 3 stars because one, it was promoted as enemies to lovers and it wasn't. I hate when books do that, so I had to dock a star. Honestly, not even a star, maybe like a 0.5, because I think if it was, I don't know, I didn't really care about the romance. I think if I would have read this, I think I might have. I think if I would have read this during like my Little Mermaid era, like in the summer, like when the book came out, I think I would have loved it a lot more. But I just thought it was fine. But I really loved reading about Black mermaids and a Black YA fantasy. I did think that that was fun, but I just didn't really like the romance. I thought it was mismarketed, and I did think that the main character was a little bit underdeveloped. Like she didn't have a lot of personality, and she kind of felt really flat. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna be writing a book, you need to be good at writing. Like you need to make sure that your characters are good and your plot is good. So the next book I read, oh, and it's mirrored. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm so sorry. The next book I read was Murder in the Family, and I read this because this was a popular like book on TikTok and it was low-key blowing up before it even came out because it's mixed media, and I should have known not to trust TikTok, but I love mixed media, so I thought I would give it a try. And I think this month I realized that I might not love mixed media as much as I thought that I did. But this book is about this guy who was murdered like 20 years ago, and his stepson is now doing a documentary on him because the stepson was home when he was murdered and his two sisters weren't. His two sisters and his mom wasn't, and so they found him in the backyard, and so now the stepson is now doing a documentary on him. And I thought the book was okay. Like it started off really interesting. The mixed media was really fun in the beginning, but towards the end, it started to get like really repetitive. Like it would just be like transcripts, and then like a fake Reddit vlog post, and then like some random ass like clip or something, like some random ass like newspaper clip or some shit, right? But in the beginning, it had like people's files, it had text messages. Oh, they do have text messages and throughout the rest of the book, and I think who did it, I don't care. If I'm being real. So, and also I don't know why we were supposed to care about the guy who was murdered. Like he was nobody. Like he was a nobody. Like he wasn't famous. Like he was just some random ass. Like the family wasn't famous. Like he was just some random ass man. It's like, why were we supposed to care? Like I'm sorry. Like this is so close. Like I am so sorry. Then I read The Woman in Me, which I did do a video on. This was by Britney Spears. It's her memoir. I gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend it to quite literally everyone. I really adored. I've always been a fan of Britney Spears. I thought I was a bigger fan than what I was because I listened to her music, but this actually like made me even more a bigger fan. I've been listening to her music. I've always listened to her music, but I knew all of her radio hits. You know, like I don't know like I knew her singles. I don't know like her album songs. I do know a good majority of them, but I'm not like a stan like how I should be. You know. So after this book, I really got into Britney Spears, and I really started like actually like listening to like her albums and things like that. And she's just such a strong woman. She deactivated her Instagram page. I don't know if she deactivated her Instagram page, and I'm so sad. But I hope it was like, you know, if it's for her mental health, then she gets you know, takes a break. I love her Instagram. I think it's crazy. I loved it. I love what she posts. I love that she didn't care. Like she's just so strong, and I love her. So then I read Aurora Rising. I actually read this whole trilogy. I unhauled this book years ago, but it really was at the bottom of my bookshelf, and I never got rid of it. And I started watching Doctor Who in November, and so I wanted books that reminded me of Doctor Who. And when I would Google it, like Aurora Rising came up and Illuminate came up. So I was like, okay, well maybe I'll give them another try. I never finished the series, so I originally gave the book 3 stars, and I think yeah, I still ended up giving the book 3 stars. I gave the entire series. Yeah, I gave the entire series 3 stars. I thought they were fine. So this book is about this girl named Aurora who doesn't have any memories. She ends up like on this ship, and she ends up going into space with these group of people. So it's like a found family type of thing, and she's up going into space with them. And I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm getting it confused with Illuminae. Like, sorry. But yeah, I think that the found family was really good. I think the characters, like all of them together, was really good. I really liked their banter, their relationship with each other. I did enjoy the characters, actually. I really liked the characters. But I think the book itself felt flat, and I think the authors really relied on their characters to like pull you through the story, because there was really no plot until like the end. And so like I really liked the space stuff and the characters, but I just feel like the authors wasn't really trying, like they wasn't, I don't know, like I just feel like they just, I don't know. I like the cover and I thought it was cute, but I'm gonna actually finally really get rid of it now. And after that, I read Illuminate, and I read this whole series. So I gave Illuminate 3 stars, Gemina 2 stars, and Obsidio 1 star. I thought this was fun. I listened to the audiobook and read the ebook. I thought it was okay. Like I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about the plot. It was really long. I just think that with mixed media, it's so funny because I love mixed media, but like with reading the two mixed media books I read this month, I found that the authors relied heavily on their mixed media, and like instead of making the actual book itself interesting. And I think that was my biggest issue. Like the mixed media was fun and there was a lot going on, but it's like when I really sat back and I'm like, okay, but what's happening in the book? I really couldn't come up with the answer for it. So I ended up getting like very bored very quickly, to be honest. And so then I read another series, and I ended up reading Kim Harrison's $1 Million Demon and American Demon. And then I also read Trouble with Cursed and Demons of Good and Evil. So I basically read all 4 books in the series. So basically this is the Kim Harrison the Hollow series. So the first book being Dead Witch Walking. Technically this is like books 14, 15, 16, 17. No, wait, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, technically it's stuck. Then my cat's gonna jump on my bed after it took me 20 minutes to get this camera ready. Okay, so I read these 4. So it's technically 15, 16, and 17, but you really don't need to read the previous series to really get into it, because I think the author does a really good example. Like she writes really good, like for you to not have to read it. Basically gave the first book 4 stars. So American Demon, I gave this book 4 stars, this book 3 stars, the third book 3 stars, and then the last book 4 stars. And I'm counting them as like 1 through 4 because it's just easy for me to say it instead of like 15 through 17. And I only read Dead Witch Walking, and then I just got into these. So you honestly only need to read Dead Witch Walking to get into these, because it's pretty much explained very well. I just felt like the characters felt very flat, and I didn't really care about the romance. I didn't give a fuck. I already don't care about romances when the characters are already together, and so I just didn't care. Like, I thought it was very boring, and I think that Rachel's very boring, honestly. She's like a very like character, like get you to point A to point B. But what I really liked about this series was that it reminded me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like the lore was really good, the world building was really good, the plot was very fun, there was a lot of things happening, it was like really moving. And like I said, it reminded me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's like my favorite show of all time, if you didn't know. I've watched every single like version, like the cartoon, the very very old cartoon in the early 2000s, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I watched all of them, so I really love that. And the lore just was, it was so similar. It was fun. Like, I loved it. It's like something fun for the girls. So then I read a memory called Empire, which I never saw myself liking, because I remember Jocelyn read this book and I remember she thought it was like very boring. And so, but I have a friend on Twitter, and she was talking about this book, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try because she liked it. I read it. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I think that the book itself was like, the world building was very fun. The book was very fun. I know a lot of people didn't really like the world building. They thought it was confusing. I thought it was very fun. I just think the character, I just think it was like still like boring though. Like, it was like a lot, like there was a lot of world building, but like nothing was happening. Like nothing was going on. So I was just like, what am I reading here? I was gonna read the second book. I'm not gonna put myself through that. Maybe I don't know. Like, I read a lot of sci-fi because I was like in my Doctor Who era, so I was trying to like really find some sci-fi that was similar. This was not similar. I don't know why I read this, but the like space, I love space. I love when like people are in space, like fighting and like pew pew in space. I just think it's so fun. This was a book. I read The Justice of Kings, which I ended up giving 2 stars. I found it very boring. I don't know why you would write a nearly 500 page book and your characters are fucking boring. Like, what? There's a lot going on. Like I said, this book does have plot. It's just like the characters itself wasn't very interesting. Then I read some Christmas books. So I did a 24-hour readathon on Christmas Day. So I read The Seasons for Revenge and The Christmas Blanket. The Season for Revenge is about this girl who boyfriend breaks up with her because her boyfriend thinks she's childish, which, I mean, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. So her boyfriend breaks up with her because he thinks that she's childish and he doesn't want anything to do with her anymore. And so she's like, you know what, I'm gonna F his boss. And so she makes a plan to F his boss. And then, you know, she does, and they end up falling in love, blah, blah, blah. I think the book itself was very corny. And also another issue I had with this book is that I don't like when like they make it a point to sleep with that person's whatever. So it was like, oh, I'm gonna sleep with his dad, I'm gonna sleep with his boss, I'm gonna sleep with his enemy. I don't think that's fun. I think it's more fun when it's just a coincidence, when it just happens. Like, I don't know, I don't think it's fun when it's like that's the whole point, because I just feel like, I don't know, how easy is that to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep with this person, and then you're successful. I don't know, maybe it's, I've never tried anything about it. I don't know actually how easy it is. I don't know. But all I do know is it just wasn't, I just don't like that plot. So yeah. And then I read, were these the only 2 Christmas books I read? Yeah, they were. And then I read The Christmas Blanket, which I ended up giving also 3 out of 5 stars. And this is like a second chance romance about this girl whose car breaks down, and then she ends up calling for help, and the person who ends up coming is her ex-husband, and then they end up staying in like this cabin, and this was not fun. I like Candy Steiner. I expected this to have a lot of angst because she's really good at angst. This was not. She wasn't that girl. So then I read She Who Became the Sun. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This book right off the bat was fun. Like, from the beginning, it was very fun. It's about this girl who her brother ends up being killed, and the only way to survive in this world is to become a monk. But you can only become a monk if you're a man. So she ends up telling him, like, she ends up taking her brother's identity and telling him she's a boy. And so you're going through her trying to survive being a girl in this, like, while being a monk. And I think it's very fun because but not fun, but I thought it was very good. I thought it was very interesting because there were scenes where, like, there's a point in the book where she doesn't shower for like days because they all shower together, and so everybody calls her stink. It's like the things that she sacrificed, like she sacrificed smelling like shit because she didn't want people to find out that she was a girl. And so also there was like the fisting scene that everyone talks about that I really enjoyed. I started to read the second book, but I actually DNF'd. It was a soft DNF, so I'm gonna try to pick it up, but I ended up DNFing it because it was like, wasn't the same as this book. Like, it was a lot more like smut in that when I was reading it, and I wasn't expecting that. It was just like so much. It was so much. And I know you're probably like, girl, you read romance, why do you complain about smut in a fantasy? I'm not really like a romantic-y girly, like, you know. And it was kind of giving romantic vibes. Not that there's any problems with it. It just wasn't really different. It just was really different from this book. But I'm gonna try to give it another try and finish it. Because I think it's just duology. I don't know if it'll have a third book, but I just want to go ahead and finish it because I did so good at finishing series this month. Also, I don't know if anybody knows that I'm terrible at finishing series. So I finished about 3 series. Like, what? And what? Like, who is she? I don't know. So yeah, and then I ended off my month. Please do not fall over a pile of books. I feel like, oh yeah, okay. I ended off with Percy Jackson. Now I know you're seeing 3 books, but I read 4. So I read 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know where my first book is. I do not know where the Lightning Thief is. I do not know where she is. So I actually read the entire series, but I ended up finishing the series in January. So that's how I started off my year. I ended up reading Battle of Labyrinth and Chalice of the Gods in January. And I did like a 24-hour. It was so fun. Like, I loved it. It was just so fun. So I ended up reading these because of the Percy Jackson series. So I was a Percy Jackson girly, but not really. So I watched the Percy Jackson movie when it came out when I was a kid. But if you follow, I've been declaring myself in stereotypes. I'm sorry, but if you've been following me for a while, then you know that like I watched a lot of popular things as a kid, but I didn't read the books to them. So like the Vampire Academy, Shadowhunter Chronicles, I watched them as a kid, but I did not read them for some reason, and I was obsessed with them. I watched the Percy Jackson movies over and over and over again. And I know you're probably like, girl, the Percy Jackson books are so different than the movies. I know that. I also ended up getting into the Percy Jackson fandom because I used to draw, and so a lot of like on DeviantArt, the Percabeth girlies used to go viral all the time, and I thought the Percabeth was so cute. Still never bothered to read the books though. I have read the first 2 books. I read them years ago because I joined BookTube and I just never continued on. And so with the show, I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish them. So I ended up finishing them, and I did enjoy the first 2 when I read them. Titan's Curse being what is this one? Battle of the Labyrinth being my least favorite. Titan's Curse being my most favorite. No, sorry. I'm thinking of them wrong. Okay, no. Sea of Monsters, no. Girl, what am I saying? Which one did I like? No, okay, Titan's Curse being my most favorite. Battle of the Labyrinth being my least favorite. I don't hate Battle of the Labyrinth. It's just like, I don't care about labyrinths. I really don't. I don't care about labyrinths. I don't care about mazes. The first half of this book really didn't do it for me, but the last half was really good. And I also read it on my Kindle, and it was just so fun. I do know I own the books physically, but I want to get into reading my Kindle more, and now I'm obsessed, and now all I do is read on my Kindle. To be honest, I love her. This is my girl. My grandma got this for me for Christmas. Love her down. Because literally all I do is lay in my bed and read on my Kindle. And I've been reading, I feel like I've been reading even more since I started reading on my Kindle. But yeah, so but yeah, I love these characters. I love Percy Beth. I love the show. I'm having so much fun. I love the sense of Black Annabeth. I actually end up going viral on TikTok. And I mean viral. Like, my video has like 300,000 views. I end up going viral talking about Percy Beth and Sid Carmi from The Bear, my current obsession. So I thought that was very funny. But I had a lot of fun. Just like, I love like when fandoms have like media that's currently coming out, or like when, I don't know, the fandom is like at the height of its, like, I don't know. And I just love the episodes. I love the actors. I think they're so great. I love Leah Jeffries. I think she's amazing. I think she's gorgeous. I love her hair. I also end up going viral for like on Twitter for tweeting about her. Just admiring her hair. I love her hair. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's a good actor. I think the Percabeth, I need them to renew it for season 2. I think that Percabeth, like, they're but I've been trying to rebuy these on hardcover because I have Chalice of Gods in hardcover, and you know, I've owned these for a minute because I originally bought them for my brother and he didn't want them, so I kept them for myself, because they are paperback, so I bought them for him, and then he was like, no girl, I don't want them. So okay, but yeah, so that is all that I read in December. Once again, I'm so sorry for the terrible quality, for fucking being all up in your shit, like being all up in your face. Like, I'm so sorry. My videos are probably gonna be like this. I might try to find a better setup. I can't film on my phone because my phone doesn't have any storage, so I'm gonna try to maybe find a better like angle, better setup, like something that works best for the best of us. Or maybe you guys like this, I don't know. I hope the sound isn't too bad. Like I said, it's just all bad for me. Okay, rest in peace to my baby. Maybe soon I'll be able to get a camera battery for her, but I just can't afford to right now. So Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Bye.